Good day and welcome to another episode. A couple of people have asked a little bit about my history of trail building and expressed interest in my downhill track that I had in my back garden back in South Africa and kind of why I got into it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, about how I got into trail building, and also a little bit about the future and what my plans are here in the park. So here goes. So here we are on the Enduro Trail in Bikepark Hahnenklee, and I'll talk a little bit more about this trail later, but first let me talk a little bit about how I got started. So how I got started in trail building is nothing spectacular. We had the UCI World Cup mountain bike event in South Africa in 2009, which was the first time we'd had it in South Africa for quite some time. It was in Stellenbosch a long time before, but in 2009 we had it in Pietermaritzburg. We had cross country and downhill, and because we were holding a World Cup event, we built new tracks. I wouldn't say completely new, but pretty close to complete rebuilds of the tracks, and that gave us the opportunity to do a lot of stuff as a community, because there's no professional trail builders really, or at the time there weren't very many professional trail builders. There were guys that were kind of heading up the projects, but they had day jobs, and so as a community we all got involved, and I got in there and I shoveled a bit of dirt and built some berms and jumps, or with other people built berms and jumps, and cut down a lot of trees and cleared stumps away and stuff like that in and around the tracks, so that the ways were clear and so on. And no worries, Pietermaritzburg or Cascades, where the World Cup venue is a managed plantation, a tree plantation. So they grow gum tree there, or eucalyptus. You would know it better as eucalyptus, as a very fast growing non-indigenous tree. It's very well managed, not like it is in Germany, and the growing, cutting and so on is very well controlled, so it's no stress. So yeah, after finishing there and after the first few World Cups, the bug bit. I just really wanted to keep building trails. So we lived on a property in Waterfall in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, which is basically halfway in between Pietermaritzburg and Durban, for those who know a little bit about South Africa. And the property was on a steep gradient, and there was a lot of open space behind my property, and I decided to start building a downhill track there, and friends helped, and it became this a kind of a therapeutic just thing to do, and I really enjoyed building trail, and I kind of semi-employed a guy to come and help me, and just to do some of the really heavy lifting, so to speak. And friends came and built, and we just had a lot of fun doing it, and it became this really cool community. And another friend of mine built a track at his back garden, and I helped there, and we just built and rode and just had fun. And then we made the decision to move to Germany, and I really didn't know what to do. I did a bit of soul searching. I was a bike mechanic at the time, and I didn't know whether I wanted to continue in that industry as just purely a bike mechanic, or whether I wanted to just stick with cycling but do something else. And I decided to apply to a couple of bike parks for work, and one of them replied and gave me a job, and here I am in Hahnenklee. So when I got here, there was quite a bit of good momentum as far as the bike park was growing. The year before I got here, there were 1,800 guests through the bike park. The previous trail builders built a flow trail, and it worked really, really well to grow the park, to just bring momentum into the park. And by the end of the first year that I was here, we went from 1,800 to close to 3,500 guests. And during my first year here, we built the downhill racetrack, or the new downhill racetrack in Hahnenklee. And I got here about halfway through the building of that, and I put in a lot of effort. I put in a lot of I gave a lot of suggestions, and I think those suggestions were well taken. The downhill track was really, really well appreciated by the riders, and people enjoyed it. It was a little bit flowier than most of the other stuff. My suggestion was a very pedally section, and it was a bit mixed but generally I think people really enjoyed it, and it just created a really good vibe in the bike park. So I took that momentum and I was excited, so I put forth a proposal to build like an A-line-esque kind of trail, very much inspired by the A-line in Whistler, and we went ahead and did that, and people were really excited about that. There was like some of the biggest jumps that people had ever seen in the Harz Mountains, and the trail was really flowy, and the big berms were really fun and everything, and that just grew the bike park like crazy. We went from that like 3,500 to pushing 8,000 guests, and then the following year we took that 8,000 and grew to nearly 12,000, and the following year to nearly 13,000. So there's always been this momentum, and along the way we built this Enduro Trail, and the Enduro Trail has been really, really well received as well. People really enjoy it. It's a very good combination of natural, rooty stuff, like you can see here, very rooty section, but still with good flow, coming into like a natural berm and then going over there into some more natural stuff. And then as you go down, it gets quite steep, and then you get to like the middle section, and then it becomes this like easy flowy stuff, and it's really fun because you can kind of chill in the middle and take a bit of a break, and then also just have some fun. And then at the end it gets technical again, and it's a really great racetrack. So that was really well received. It was used for an event called Trail Trophy in 2017, which was like almost our opening event for the year, and it did really, really well. It got good reviews, and people are really enjoying coming to the bike park. So what's the next step? That's always the question. I mean, like everything about everything today is about evolution, but the cycling industry is really about evolution. There's so much happening. There's wireless electronic shifting and amazing brakes and crazy cool suspension that thinks for you, and carbon fiber frames and really great aluminium frames making a comeback, and all kinds of stuff. And obviously the bike park is no different. There has to be an evolution in the bike park, and so for me, what I see as the evolution, or for what I see as the future, is that people are going to continue to want to ride fun, flowy, relatively easy by downhill race standards, flowy trails, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So you will have seen in a previous video that I started on a new section of our flow trail, and I'm going to continue with that trend of building flow trails but with natural surfaces. So instead of bringing in gravel or like foreign materials to build trails, we're going to build them with the natural material that's on the hill, so that you don't have this ugly gravel trail, and also it's just a lot easier. And then the next big thing that everyone knows is e-bikes. So I ride an e-bike now. I'm sure you've seen that on my channel as well, and I really enjoy the e-bike because it adds like another dimension to cycling. It's not like cheating to me. It is in a way, but that's not the end all be all of e-biking. The e-bikes have huge other advantages, and one of the advantages is that you can do a bunch of laps on a hill pretty easily without even having to use a lift. So our next evolution, or our next step, is to build an uphill flow trail, but we're not going to build it like a lot of other uphill flow trails, which are just basically trails built on 4 lines. We're going to build it like the flow trail that's in the park. It's going to traverse the slope. It's going to give you loads and loads and loads of time going up the hill, and loads and loads of options to have fun with, like swoopy berms and little rollers and stuff like that you can really, really enjoy the e-bike uphill experience. So some of the dynamics will change of how the trail is built. Generally you build downhill flow trails with like really big exits so that you've got lots of space to make a mistake, and with the uphill version you're going to have lots of space coming into the corner to correct and find your line and stuff like that. And what will eventually be, or hopefully what we'll end up with, is this really cool trail for e-bikes, but also a trail for a capable cross-country rider, or somebody with a nice trail bike that can ride up and down the hill without using the lift, because the lift isn't everybody's thing. So that's what we're going to start to bring in, is this idea of using your own power to get up the hill and down the hill. I hope you'll come with me on that journey while I build new trails in Bikepark Hahnenklee and do all sorts of other things around Bikepark Hahnenklee. And we'll see you next time. Love you too. And please remember, if you like this video, click like, and if you like what you see on my channel, please subscribe and click that little bell icon so that your YouTube will tell you when I upload a new video. And enjoy 2020.